Father, I want to thank you for our visitors here today to show us some special ways we may not be aware of, even though we support them, to physically serve you in our community. Thank you for a chance to hear these updates and pray that we would see how we can serve you. In Jesus' name, amen. So, as I mentioned, we have two guest speakers here today, Jack Lynn and Mary Jo Summers. And guys, we'll just go in that order. Well, Jack, you can go first, and then Mary Jo. We've made pretty good time. So I think what we'll do is have Jack give his presentation and see if there's any questions, and then Mary Jo the same. And we can see if you think of anything for Jack while that goes on. But as I was thinking about these folks coming here today, I was reminded of our study in Zechariah. And after the temple is built and they all come along, you remember the elders come to Zechariah and they ask him what sounds like a yes or no question: should we celebrate these fasts? And Zechariah talks for 50 verses about why do you want to celebrate these fasts. And these were new fasts that weren't that God hadn't commanded, but they weren't bad necessarily. But he said, why do you want to celebrate these fasts when the poor are not supported, when the widows have needs? And the long story short, he was telling them when the Messiah comes, he'll take care of the poor, but in the meantime, why have fancy religious ceremonies when there's still needy that need help? And that came to my mind a few times this week as I talked to Mary Jo and folks that talked to Jack, and I see this as an opportunity for us to apply that lesson from a few months ago. But be thinking along those lines as these folks make their presentation. So Jack, when you're ready.
Good morning. I want to thank you for having me out. I grew up 15 minutes from here. Harlansburg is always a place that's very close to my heart. My best friend was the Malones up here, Sean Malone. So I spent many times across the field playing football and kind of hanging out. So it was great to come back today and just kind of think of some of those memories. And it's also, I'm very thankful for you inviting me out and for this church's support of the City Rescue Mission. The City Rescue Mission is a place that I love to serve at, and it's such an honor to serve as the CEO. And this year is a special year for us because we hit 115 years of ministry in our community. And looking back how the mission started, you can see on this next slide, there's a picture of down in Newcastle. It's coming. But there it is. So this picture I love. We have it up on our history board. But this started the City Rescue Mission. And it all started with a crowd. The preacher's name was Billy Sunday. He was going up and down the East Coast preaching on serving the poor, helping those in need. And he came to Newcastle in 1910, and he was here for about 2 months. That first crusade, they built this tabernacle right in Newcastle, and roughly 7,000 people showed up for the first service. He was the Billy Graham of his day. They had to turn an estimated 3,000 people away. And he preached again on serving the poor. That crowd turned into a calling. When he left, individuals in our community said, hey, we need to keep this going. We need to work with the poor. We need to help those that are homeless and struggling. And that calling was led by the Personal Workers League, and they had their first meeting on October 18th, 1911. And they had it in First Baptist Church in Newcastle, and that group raised $2,500, which in today doesn't sound like a lot, but it's probably around $60,000, $70,000 if you convert it into money today. But that started the beginning. That $2,500 started the first City Rescue Mission, and for 115 years, our mission hasn't changed. And that is to preach the gospel and be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ, helping those in need and those struggling in our community. Because that's what Jesus calls us to do. And for 115 years, we've done it, Our programs might look a little different than they did back then, but that initial value of being servants of God and being missionaries in our community hasn't changed. And today, we can see it's just as important as it was back then. We have a growing need in our nation. These numbers are the 2025 numbers. The new numbers for this year have not been out yet, but you can see on the next slide, we have roughly 771,000 people homeless in our nation each night. That's an 18% increase from 23 to 24. Since HUD started tracking homelessness, that is the largest increase they've ever had in a single year. One of the things is, it's a little bit comforting. Those numbers seem to go down a little bit with this year, with what we're being told. Again, we're still waiting for those numbers to be released. But even going down a couple percent when you have an 18% increase the year before, it's a start, but it just shows the needs out there. When you look at Pennsylvania and Western PA, they average in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania 14,000 homeless a night. The Western PA COC is our continuum of care that goes all the way from Washington County up through Lawrence County into Erie, excluding Allegheny County, Pittsburgh's tract separate. 800 people in that area are homeless a night. Pennsylvania itself ranks 11 in the country with the largest homeless population. And again, a large majority of that is in the Philadelphia area. But we're right up there with them. We are seeing more and more people coming through our doors struggling with homelessness for the first time. We're seeing older people coming through that just don't have the retirement, don't have the savings, and they're being homeless for the first time. We're seeing a lot more families. We're seeing younger people also come in. When you look at the average age of those seeking shelter with us, 10 years ago, the average age was up in the low 60s. Our highest age population are those in the 40s now. We are seeing a lot of differences in homelessness that we're seeing from 15 years ago. A lot of that dealing with mental health and addiction. 1 out of 4 that come through our doors have some type of mental health that we are working with. It is a constant struggle, and that's why we need your prayers. There's a lot of things being thrown at us, and you're going to see on a couple slides ahead here where I talk about how we team up with that. But we're also seeing other things in our area. Lack of affordable housing and high rent prices are one of the leading causes of homelessness. Just having somebody in stable housing doesn't get them out of homelessness. They need those wraparound services. But when you have individuals that are on disability, a very limited income, and the most affordable housing you can get them from a private landlord can be $1,000 a month, it's not affordable to them. And that's a problem we don't have just in Western Pennsylvania, but we have it across this country. Also, food insecurity is something that really negatively impacts our community. They say approximately 11,600 people in Lawrence County face food insecurity. That's 1 out of 7 of us. When you look at kids in our school, 1 out of 5 kids face food insecurity in Lawrence County that are in the schools. And that's just not having, not enough snacks. When I talk to people, and I especially like Sunday school classes with kids and that and VBS, that is actually going to the cupboard and there's nothing there. Food insecurity means you're missing at least 1 meal a day. And overall, we are at about 14.1% for food insecurity across our region, which is higher than the regional and national average. So we are in an area that, this is really impacting. And there's a lot of food drives. We meet it through our food insecurity, through our food pantry, but there's a huge need. So how does this all start? Where does the City Rescue Mission try to meet it? And we meet the immediate needs with care and dignity. We basically say, when you come in, we try to keep it simple. We're not going to beat you over the head, give you a lecture, say, hey, why are you in this state? We're going to come alongside you. We're going to show you love and compassion because that's what Jesus shows us. And we're going to start it with something simple. We're going to give you a nice, safe place to sleep, 3 hot meals a day. That starts opening the door. Some individuals, that's the main thing they need. And then we give them space to breathe. We give them space to think. And we listen to what they're saying for those first couple of days. And then we come alongside them and we help them get out of that life of crisis into a life of stability. And we do that through many, many things, many different programs at the mission, but we want to see them go from relief to restoration. And you can see on the top of this list, it starts with shelter and a safe place to sleep and a hot meal. But it goes so much more. And these are these wraparounds. We help with clothing. We help with monthly grocery assistance. We have families that sign up through our food pantry, and we give them enough food, hopefully for the whole month, trying to get them into that security. We do addiction recovery. Our addiction recovery takes roughly a year. It's not like school. You don't have so many weeks of it. We look for character marks through a 5-phase program. When you get to phase 5, you graduate it. Today, I get the honor of going down and watching one of our ladies graduate the recovery program. We throw a very big celebration for them. They give their testimony. They are encouraged to get involved with a church family. So that church comes down and celebrates with them, and then we encourage them. After we have our celebration today, they go in what we call aftercare. And that's an accountability, lifelong program that they can be in. And that way, if they start to struggle again, they can reach out to us or somebody who they went through the program with. That's somebody that can maybe keep them from going back on those hard times. Because in the end, it takes 3 years, is what they say, to break a pattern. And that's what we're trying to do at the mission, is break that pattern. We also do basic life skills training and workforce development. We see a lot of individuals, that's what they need. They never had those basic life skills. I had an individual at the mission come up and ask if we could teach him how to use a microwave. He's never had a microwave, didn't know how to use it. So those basic life skills that we take for granted, or that workforce development, it's essential to train them and teach them that. We do counseling support, but most importantly, we do spiritual guidance. We want to heal the whole body. That's spiritually, mentally, and physically. And we recognize the only way to true restoration is to introduce people to Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. That is our main calling. And you can see some of the numbers on the next slide of the lives that are being impacted through the City Rescue Mission. On average, we serve around 325 to 350 different individuals each year with shelter. You can see those numbers have been pretty consistent the past 2 years. The red numbers being the men that we serve, and the blue line being the females that we serve. One of the things on there you're going to notice, we're seeing a lot more women come through our doors, and this is a prayer I'm asking for every church, that God opens up opportunities for us to expand our women's ministry. And the reason we need to do that, right now we can shelter roughly 50 to 60 men a night. We have another 11 beds available for our recovery men. In our women's ministry, we have 12 beds. And those 12 beds are split between recovery and those seeking shelter. So right now, my board and I are working on a plan, but we need prayers. We need God to open up doors. We need at least 50, 60 beds for women, because we are turning women and families away. We try to use hotels to keep families together, but that's just too expensive. So please, in your prayers, be praying for God to open up those doors. Food insecurity, you can see with our meals served, those numbers just keep exploding. Our small kitchen, when I came to the mission in 2020, served roughly 19,000 meals. Last year, we just went over 30,000. You can see where COVID has just spiked that. And the thing is, we're not a restaurant. We don't want our numbers to keep going up. It gets really hard to meet this high demand. But 30,000 people a day come in, or not a day, a year come in to get one hot meal a day. Because again, like I said, our community kitchen feeds 3 meals to everybody in the shelter, but it also serves 1 free meal 7 days a week to anybody in the community. Anybody can stop in and have a meal with us. And we're seeing more and more people come in. We have, again, we talked about recovery, but about 4 to 8 individuals in recovery every year that graduate from that program. And our holiday outreaches, which if it wasn't for the churches such as you guys, we couldn't get through. But we do a Thanksgiving basket distribution every year. That's the baskets with a full-size turkey in it, all the fixings you need to do a Thanksgiving meal at home. We did 401 Thanksgiving baskets last year. We do Christmas gift assistance to help families with children at Christmas time, and we served 614 kids last year. And then back-to-school supplies, we do a back-to-school bash every year. Last year, we helped 441 kids. Those outreaches are all needed. They're extra stuff that God gives us the provisions to do, and they reach a lot of families, helping them get into that stability. The other community impact that we do that some people aren't aware of, we do street outreach. One of our goals is, we can't drag people into shelter, but we go out with our police, and we're out there in the encampments. We're taking breakfast sandwiches. We have a church from Grove City that helps prepare breakfast sandwiches each week, brings them down to the mission, and then some of their church members go out with us on the street and deliver it to people in tents, abandoned buildings where it's safe for us to go to try to encourage people to come in off the streets. Care Portal is a great program that we use through the churches to meet families in need, helping them stay together, and we team up with CYS on that. And we also have a prison ministry where we're in the Lawrence County Jail 2 days a week. So you can see there, the City Rescue Mission, one of the reasons we need your prayers and your support, we're very busy. We do a lot of different things, a lot of different programs, and what I love, if you're ever available, come down for a tour. Because when I go through a tour of our building, one of the things I hear from everybody is, we didn't realize you do all that. It's great to see what God's doing. But the thing we got to remember is we can't do it alone. The mission can't do it alone. The only person that can do it is God. But we need the help. And you can see on this next slide the community that it takes around the City Rescue Mission. Most importantly, being the church. We have 211 churches that support the City Rescue Mission every year. And we're thankful that God has given us those provisions and those relationships. For the health, we team up with Primary Health Network. We team up with different dentists, Link the Valley, different eye doctors in the city of Newcastle. But this is an extremely important thing to me. A couple years ago, we teamed up with Primary Health Network. We need our guys and our ladies to have just basic primary care. And some of our individuals haven't been to the doctor in over 10 years. So they bring their mobile unit every 2 weeks, and it's a full doctor's office, and it's open to the community. They come right into our parking lot, and they meet with individuals. But what's even better is they also have a person on staff that comes into the City Rescue Mission, and they're there 3 days a week. They help our guests with those appointments, but also manage medication, set up different appointments, get to those appointments, and help them answer any questions. So meeting those basic healthcare needs are important. We have agencies that we work with: housing, employment, education, mental health. You can see we have a lot of agencies there. That's one with a lot of barriers that we need God to break down to get our guys and our ladies mental health. And we have our community partners. We work really well with the City of Newcastle and the Newcastle Police Department, especially on the street outreach. When they get a tip of somebody sleeping in a tent, they're calling my cell phone personally. And we work a lot with the district attorneys. But the other thing we do, we have a national network. The City Rescue Mission is an individually private gospel rescue mission. We are only in Newcastle and Lawrence County, but there are gospel rescue missions across this nation. And Citygate Network is that network that we are all members of. It helps us with training, bringing best practices that are working in other areas, bring them into our community. And they also do our accreditation. So this way people know that the City Rescue Mission is being held to the highest standard possible. So it takes a lot of those community partners. It takes what we call community bridges to bridge different services and get them in our doors. So with everything we've seen here, why is it important? Why is the City Rescue Mission worth the investment? And when you look at Matthew 25, 35 through 40, serving the poor is a similar character to serving Christ himself. We talk about being the hands and feet of Jesus Christ here on earth. We want to meet people and live out our values with love, compassion, mercy, and grace. It takes roughly $2.25 million a year for the City Rescue Mission to operate. And, I'm very thankful to say up here that God has blessed us with those provisions. We raise it every year. He brings it through the doors, and we don't have any debt. And right now, we do not participate, or do we plan to participate in any form of government funding. And it's not that we oppose working with the government. We need their programs to help with housing, to help with mental health. Every March, I go to DC and I meet with our senators, I meet with our congressmen, and tell them on stuff they can pass to help the community. It's not that we oppose their partnership. We want to protect our religious freedoms. We are organized as a church, and our main job is to preach the gospel and live out the gospel daily. That's why we don't partner with them. And that's why, we are so thankful for churches like you guys that give us the support, and our donors that bring that in every year. So what's involved with the next 115 years, and where's God leading us? Right now we see the need is growing. The faces are getting younger. The situation is getting more and more complex, but our calling has not changed. One of the things we need at the City Rescue Mission is volunteers. And there's many ways to get involved with us. The first thing we need prayer warriors. We need your prayers. Yes, we need financial help, but we need your prayers more than those finances, because God can open up any door, and prayers are number one weapon against the devil. Again, we need financially giving, but we also need what we call them gift in kinds. That's people bringing down food, bringing down clothing, bringing down blankets and gloves in the winter. Those type of donations help us keep the cost down. I'm thankful for our farmers. We have a lot of farmers that bring in a ton of vegetables, a ton of corn, and it goes a long way. Or serve with us. We love our volunteers that come down. We just had a group of kids come down from Portersville Christian School. They help with painting and cleaning. It's not all about just serving meals at the City Rescue Mission. There's many ways to get involved. We have pastors that volunteer their time coming down and teaching classes and teaching the Word of God to the people we serve. There's a lot of things that can be done, and the thing is, it can be done by any age. When I mentioned the church from Grove City that send out two of their members from their congregation, they're two ladies that are in their 60s. They're retired, and they love doing it. So there's something for everybody, and if God puts that on your heart, please go out to our website. The other thing, too, is I put out on the pulpit, it's called our Ideas publication. This has everything that we're looking to do and to collect. It gives a description, and right now, one of the biggest ways you can help us is, if you can, we are in the middle of a matching gift challenge. We got a match of up to $150,000. So now, if you're able to give that $10, that $10 is $20. So it's a great way to help us raise the money to get through these summer months. So just in closing, I thank you for your support. I thank you for having me out here. The main goal of the City Rescue Mission, again, is to preach the gospel of Christ, live out the values of loving Him, loving all, providing grace, extending mercy, and serving with compassion. And God has called us there for 115 years, and, we plan for Him to use us until He calls us all home. I'll be around after church to answer any questions.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I was thoroughly impressed with how you came to be involved, and you would take a minute or two
Yeah.
to sort of share that with us.
Yeah, happy to. So how I got involved with the City Rescue Mission was truly a calling from God. I went to school to be an accountant. So I worked for a public accounting firm. I never became a CPA, but I was doing audits and managing audits for a lot of health systems, nursing homes, and nonprofits like the City Rescue Mission. And I was managing the City Rescue Mission audit and got to know Kevin Green, who was the CEO before me, and get to meet some of the staff. And I remember going home that first year, it was probably about 15 years ago now, and tell my wife, man, the work they do there is really special. I've always known of the mission, but I was never, had a tour or knew exactly everything they did. So one thing led to another, and the way public accounting was going, everything was going good. I had no plan of switching. And then it came one year, the mission said, hey, we're gonna start succession planning. Kevin was getting ready to retire. He was coming up on 20-some years of ministry there. And, you know, God started putting it on my heart. So I was praying on it. And one of the things with accounting, once you would go to somebody and say, hey, would you ever consider me in that? I would have broke my independence as the auditor, which means I got to go tell my boss. So even if Kevin would be like, no, not at all, we would never think of you, I still had to go tell my boss I asked to go to them, which meant they probably would have fired me. So I prayed on it a lot. It was the off season, not audit season. Me and Kevin decided to meet up. I was a little bit nervous, and I said, would you ever consider somebody like me? And he said, that's funny, because you're on the list. He goes, that's why I'm here to talk to you. And it was about a 4-month vetting process. They talked to different candidates, and they decided to go with me. So I had to go back and tell my boss at this point. And the problem was they didn't need me for another year. So I went back to my boss, and his name was James Hunt, really good Christian guy, and he's like, listen, you're not switching because for money, you're switching for a heart decision. He goes, you can switch. We'll keep you around 12 months. If you become a deadbeat employee, we'll have to fire you. And Kevin told me, well, if they fire you, we're not hiring you. So that was a good reason to stay motivated for those 12 months. But they didn't have to do that. And one thing led to another, and I've been at the mission now 7 years. I always say God has a sense of humor. I switched in January of 2020. We had all these great plans, and then this thing called COVID hit and kind of changed those plans. But it's been a great journey, and I'm thankful that God called me to it. Thank you.
I'll invite Mary Jo up, and while I'm thinking about it, there are some brochures from both folks about their ministries, and also some quilts. Did Marjorie do all of them, or?
I'm not sure if she finished.
Okay.
She did all of them from the jail, our ladies, but they're lap robes for nursing homes or people that are in wheelchairs.
So I don't know if Uncle Bob could use anything like that, or any of you folks. If you've got folks in mind too, there's a bunch. So feel free to take a couple.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Jo Summers, as you have heard, and I'm coming to you from Promise of Life Network. I'm going to apologize straight up front. I'm second string. Normally, my boss, Sarah Bowen, would be here to share with you about our mission, but she was unable to make it today, and she said about that, hopefully she will be able to come out at some point and share a little bit more with you. But you got me, and I'm glad to be here for a couple of reasons. One was breakfast. It was awesome. I don't know why all of you weren't there, but it was really nice, and it was a nice chance to meet people, and what a nice congregation this is. Also excited to be here because Jack's here. Jack, do you know the Promise Life Network? Yeah, okay, in pregnancy terms, City Rescue Mission birthed Promise Life Network way back when, 1984. City Rescue Mission started Bethesda Home, which was a short-term shelter for women who were pregnant or were single moms with young children. And it was obviously pregnancy testing, shelter, food, clothing, and life skills that was offered there. Right around 2000, I'm going to get his name wrong, Reverend Marshall? Reverend Dixon? Reverend Dixon Martin, okay. He weaned us. So then he basically said it's time to split. And we stopped being a short-term shelter home and then really started being a pregnancy resource center, which has to do with pregnancy testing, peer counseling, and some material help as well. So yeah, it's kind of neat that we're here together on the same day. All right, Promise Life Network, what are we? We are a pro-life pregnancy center. We're all about pregnancy, and actually our mission is a little bit broader than that. Our mission is to see a community where life is cherished from conception until natural death. And so that's everything that we do, everything, all of our services goes through that lens, okay? And you'll hear about it a lot with us today. If you want to, go ahead. Where are we located? So we have two main offices right now, Slippery Rock and Newcastle. To kind of finish up that little history thing, in 2011, our Newcastle office, which was by then called Newcastle Pregnancy Resource Center, we merged with the Slippery Rock office. We were two small pregnancy centers. It made a lot of sense for us to join and to share our resources. And so in 2012, we were Alpha Omega Center. We had 3 departments. We were the medical, offering pregnancy tests and ultrasounds. And then we also had our parenting division, and then we also had abstinence education going out into the schools and talking about healthy relationships and abstinence. So that's where we were in 2012. 2014, Sarah Bowen shows up and took over as our executive director and literally thrust us into 21st century pregnancy help. In 5 years, from 2014 to 2019, we had grown so much that we needed an umbrella name. We had gone from the 3 departments I just mentioned to 6, and so we became Promise of Life Network, and we reserved that Alpha Omega Center name for just our medical services. So here we are now. We have the 2 main locations, like I just mentioned, and then now, and at those 2 locations, we offer all of our services. We have 3 other satellite locations out in Mercer and Sandy Lake and Butler, and those are really reserved more for just the parenting program. Okay? Now, our local footprint, that's Butler, Lawrence, Mercer County, North Beaver, and some of Venango. That's where we are locally. If you want to go to the, go to the next slide. Then we have our international reach. 2019 was a year that we started our international department, and that was truly a God thing. We had no planning for that. It just landed in our lap, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But since then, we have helped 40,000 women from across the globe in 91 countries. And we're just a small, we're just a pregnancy center, if you will, in a small rural western PA. It's truly amazing what God has done. You can go to the next. Okay, so what we do, that's a busy slide, but I'll just go through it very quickly. Our 6 divisions, again, our main division is our medical, Alpha Omega Center. We do offer the pregnancy testing, the ultrasound scans, options education, so she understands all 3 of her options. And obviously we're pro-life, so we do not encourage abortion, we do not refer for it, but we do want to make sure, if that's where she wants to go, that she understands physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, what's all involved with that. We also do women's wellness visits, and we also do STD testing and treatment. Again, what is STD testing and treatment and women's wellness visit? Isn't that getting a little off, of our mission? No, that is our primary prevention services, if you will. We want to be able to reach these women and men with the STD testing, talk about them as far as like, what are you doing right now? Tell them their worth, share the gospel, and we do that obviously with our pregnancy clients as well. But just so they have that understanding of who they are, do they know the gospel message? Do they know Jesus? And it's really a nice time to be able to connect with them that way. Love it when we are able to offer them a Bible and they take it. Love it when they want to actually let us pray for them. It's a great time for that. So again, that's our medical division and a lot of what we do there. We also have our international division, like I just mentioned. How that works is this: we have a Facebook account. Through that Facebook account, we've had women from all over the country, or all over the globe, as I've mentioned, message us through Facebook Messenger. We didn't realize when this all started that people in, say, Africa use Facebook like we use Google. So when they're typing in abortion, we come up. And so then they Facebook message us, usually with a message like, I need an abortion, help me get an abortion. And so we will hook them up with a resource close to them, a pregnancy center in their country, in their town, hopefully. If not, if we don't have that resource, then we will hook them up with a church. So at least there's somebody who can walk with them as they're going through all of this. And through that, again, we have just been able to share so much. A lot of education with that as well. A lot of these women, they don't have medical care, and so they don't have ultrasound scans available to them. So we will send them a picture of an ultrasound scan of a fetus that is as far as long as they are. And so they see that, and it's their replacement for an ultrasound. And we get the comments like, oh, I had no idea. I had no idea that my baby was that big or whatever. So it's really very eye-opening for them. We also get to share the gospel with them as well. And again, we try to get them hooked up with a church family. Okay. Our national program really centers around our website. It's called athomeabortionfacts.com. It is the only, as far as we know, the only website out there that talks about or deals with the abortion pill. And it comes at it from a pro-life perspective and has pro-life resources and links with it. And so that's another resource that we have. Then we have our New Beginnings department. That's our parenting program. That is where we really help anybody in the community who has children up to the age of 4. And how that works is, before COVID, women would come into our centers, they'd sit down, we'd show them a video on some parenting type of topic, and then they'd do a little pre-test, post-test, they'd earn points, and then they'd go shopping in our boutiques. Now, after COVID, we do a lot more remotely, so we're sending them the visits to their phone. They can watch their video on the phone, they can do their pre-test. Did I say, well, anyway. They can do their pre-test and their post-test on their phone, earn the points, and then they come in once a month to our boutiques and they can shop. We keep contact with them. We don't just see them once a month. So we will contact them throughout the month and just say, hey, how are you doing? How's that going? What did you learn from that lesson? How can we help you? That type of thing. This department, more than any other, allows us a chance to really get to know them. Again, if they're in that program for 4 years, and even before that, while they're pregnant, you really get that chance to know them and to be able to help them and to be able to share the gospel. It is so neat about how many women and their families have either gotten back into church or gotten connected with church through that. It's a wonderful program that way. Another division that we have is our community education division. It's called Healthy Relationships Today. That's where we go out to the junior high and the senior high schools around here, and we talk about healthy relationships. Hey, how do you develop a relationship that's healthy? How do you maintain it? We also talk about abstinence. That's the crux of that. And it's just really fun, actually, very engaging, and really need to talk to young people about this. And a lot of times what we hear back is, we didn't know this. No one's ever told us this. And it's very, very rewarding. It's really a lot of fun. Another division that we have it's called Step Into Hope, and it is our pregnancy loss department. This is for women or men who have experienced an abortion or a miscarriage or a prenatal diagnosis. We do this through different programs. They are faith-based. If a woman is not, or a man is not there, or that doesn't suit them, then we will, we'll adjust for that. But it is, complete healing obviously comes through Jesus, and so we do offer that. And then lastly, we have our Promise to Life Publications department, which is all about the resources that we as a staff have created and developed, and that is available for anybody, either other pregnancy help centers or anybody. Our main resource off of that is the curriculum that Sarah Bowen developed, and it's called Courageously Pro-Life. I don't know, are they familiar? It was developed for churches, and so some churches in the areas have done it. Anybody can do it. Somebody could do it by themselves, or they could do it with friends or whatever. But what it is, it's just a complete history of abortion. It sounds boring, but it's not. From, say, biblical times all the way up till now. And then also talks about eugenics and euthanasia. And then also to a practical side of that, hey, how do you talk to your neighbor, your coworker, your family relative that, is not, say, pro-life? How do you do that? So it takes you through all of that. And then lastly here, we have our statewide collaborative or coalition. A few years ago, Sarah and some other leaders around the state, other leaders of pregnancy centers, got together and formed this coalition. It's called PPWC, PA Pregnancy Wellness Collaborative. So it's so needed. At this time, there's so much going on the state level with abortion and everything, is that we needed a voice. So it's not a 501c3, it's whatever that is that you can actually lobby. So they are out there, and they're down in Harrisburg at least once a year, probably more, and they talk to the legislators, and obviously legislators around here as well, telling them how important the work of pregnancy centers are and just how vital we are. So that's also something that we are into. All right, you can finally move off of this slide. A quick couple updates. So, Roe v. Wade in June of 2022, we won that battle. But since then now, obviously since the abortion decision has now been gone back to the states, now we have different fights. And the main fight is the chemical abortion pill. So Sarah had to update her curriculum, Courageously Pro-Life, so she has an insert in there, and it does take a look at that landscape that we have now with, we have pro-abortion states, pro-life states, and just what that battle now looks like. The next slide, please. The other thing that's really up front right now, as far as what we're dealing with, is our maternal health. You may know this. So we're rural, obviously, and rural America is experiencing some healthcare deserts. We're in a maternal healthcare desert right now. How many hospitals do we have left around here that actually deliver babies? And now we're also losing those OB providers as well. Our clients that are coming in are not being seen especially they're not allowed to, or not allowed, they can't come in for an ultrasound until 12, 14, maybe even 16 weeks. That's a long time. So what we are doing is this year we're going to be implementing more pregnancy appointment types. So we'll have an early pregnancy appointment type, get the ultrasound right away, around 7, 8 weeks, and then we'll have another visit a few weeks later, and then we'll have a mid-pregnancy appointment, and then a postpartum and a post-abortion as well. The reason is, we're not replacing prenatal care, we're trying to walk alongside the OB providers and try and fill that gap. So we can, by having them come in that often, we can be monitoring blood pressure, we can be monitoring diabetes type of things in a general sort of way. And the maternal health, maternal mortality with pregnancy, those are two big things that we have to be trying to help decrease. So that's our little way of trying to walk alongside and help with that. You can go to the next one, thanks. All right, so how are we doing? With our Alpha Omega Center, with our medical division, this past year, we helped, of the women that came in who were abortion-minded, abortion-vulnerable, had factors in their lives that made them more likely that they would have an abortion, we saw 53 of them change their mind and choose life for their babies, and that's wonderful. This scan up here actually is a scan of a baby of a woman who had gone into a Planned Parenthood and then didn't have a great visit. She left there and then came in and saw us. And again, was able to get an ultrasound scan, was able to get some answers and some information that she needed, and then chose life. You can go to the next one. Internationally, so I said we have seen over 40,000 women, or we have helped over 40,000 women. In 2025, we helped 10,000, over 10,000 women across the globe. This picture is of a child who, a woman reached out, and she said she was 9 weeks pregnant and she wanted an abortion. Again, we helped her, we prayed with her. And then 3 months later, we followed up with her just to see how she was doing, and this is what she sent. So she wasn't 9 weeks. When we had talked to her 3 months previously, she was probably more around 27 weeks. But that kind of, again, shows you, there's a lot of education that needs to happen, and that we're able to help with that. You can go to the next one. All right, this is Oliver. Oliver is one of our little ones that is helped through our New Beginnings program. You can see there, New Beginnings helped over 3,000, almost 4,000 families in the past year. This is actually a very robust program. There's just a lot of needs in the community. People, previously, like I said, before COVID, people would come in during the daytime because they could. Now we're seeing a lot of our clients are working, which is phenomenal, which is great, but they still need help. And so, again, it's really good that we can help them remotely, like sending their videos remotely, so they can do it at night or whenever a time that works for them. I'm sorry, that was parenting appointments. Yeah, we help over a couple hundred families a year, for sure. And again, it's so neat to see families succeed with that. They just need someone to walk alongside them in Jesus. All right, next slide. Okay, healthy relationships today. This is Rob Peterson. He was in the schools this year for us. He did a phenomenal job. 2024-2025 academic year, we saw over 1,000 students in over 10 schools. And he just does a great job engaging students. They love it when he comes and talks to them because he's very real, and especially with the guys and the girls. Okay, you can go. Okay, so what can you do? Same thing, right? Same thing as with Jack. We do ask for prayers, and we are very thankful for your prayers. We need prayers that God will continue to guide and to protect us, our ministry, and we definitely want to stay on course with what he has. I think I've mentioned this, so it's been kind of I don't know, with Sarah at the helm, you just never know. Okay, and then whenever she gets together with Jack, we talk, they're dangerous together. They have very vision-minded. So we just want prayers for that, to keep us that way, safe. And then also to please pray for our clients and staff family. That'd be great. Giving always, no amount is too small. We have a baby bottle drive that if a church wants to do that, it's kind of a fun way to give as well. And then, as Pastor Mark was mentioning, we do have our Walk for Life that's coming up on May 16th over in Grove City at the Memorial Park. Please come out. It's a great time, and we just appreciate that. And then also to volunteering. If God is nudging you, Holy Spirit, anything that you can help us with. Certainly I mentioned the chat line volunteers. That's all volunteers for the internationals, watching the Facebook messages coming in and responding to them. But anything is like cleaning or just anything with computers or anything with mailings, anything. So if you have something, let us know. We can probably find something that would be helpful for us. All right, and you can finish up on the last one. Yep. So please pray about it, and if God's nudging you, let us know. Thank you so much.
How many people are involved in Pencil Rock?
Like staff-wise or people-wise? Like staff-wise, we have a staff of 15. We're all one staff. So we're pretty much in both locations. Nice, thank you. Yes? Oh, the pre-test? That's a great question. So anybody is eligible. There's no financial, limit or anything like that. There's no location limit because it's all remote, except for obviously coming in and getting stuff. So yeah, it's open to anybody. And actually, and that's a great thing. It's not just for people who come in through Alpha Omega Center, go through their pregnancy, decide to parent, and then they get, we encourage them to go into New Beginnings. Anybody can come in through the community. New Beginnings, is that, yep, is that. There's actually, I think, a brochure on the back there. I think I put one there. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I'll be also available if anyone has any more questions. Thanks.
All right, well, I want to thank Jack and Mary Jo. If you want to come up, Leslie, we'll sing our song here. But again, I appreciate you guys doing things the church can't do. God has organized things that there is a local church, and I appreciate both of you talking about supporting the local churches, sending folks to local churches, but that goes both ways, that these ministries need the help of the local churches to do stuff that we can't do. So we support City Rescue Mission as one of our missionaries, but the Promise of Life, the Walk for Life has been good. Had a pretty good turnout from our church last year. If you can't do the 5K, you can walk, and if you can't walk, you can buy cheeseburgers. So all of these options are available to come out for. What's the number? I have too many bookmarks. 364. Okay, let's stand together, and we'll sing the first and last verse here of 364 and the red hymnal. And again, if you have more questions, they'll be around. There's a call comes ringing o'er the restless waves. Send the light, send the light. There are souls to rescue, there are souls to save. Send the light, send the light, send the light. The blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Send the light, the blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. Let us not grow weary in the work of love. Send the light, send the light. Let us gather jewels for a crown above. Send the light, send the light, send the light. The blessed gospel light, let it shine from shore to shore. Send the light, the blessed gospel light, let it shine forevermore. Thanks for coming. You all are dismissed.